Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tebogo Mashilompane, aka Shilos. Welcome to another episode at the Forum for South Africa. And today we are speaking to the one and only, the president and of United Independent Movement. His name is Mr. Neil De Beer, and he's joining us today to talk about his party, to talk about the things that are happening in the country, and then what the election holds for them. So, welcome everybody at Forum for South Africa. This is the speaking platform. This is the platform for South Africa. Good afternoon, Mr. Neil.
Molweni Tebogo. Good afternoon.
I like that.
Hoe gamla Uskansolza. My
Yeah.
my name is Skansolza. So good day.
Yeah. Yes. So no, we let me take this opportunity, Mr. De Beer, and thank you for honoring this invite. And then it will benefit the South Africans, not necessarily me only, but all South Africans will benefit from this conversation that you are going to have right now.
Thank you.
So
Thank
before
you.
I waste time, I just want to mention and say if the load shedding affects us and the network just go out quickly, but let's wait, it always comes back after a few seconds, so let us not panic. So
Sure.
I always believe that people should introduce themselves. That's my belief. I Even though I introduce you, but I always believe that you are the better person to introduce yourself, because I might have left some important facts when I was introducing you. So maybe you can correct and introduce yourself and even greet our viewers.
Yeah, Tebogo, thank you. As I said to the people, Molweni, Kabane.
Yes.
Uh, my name is Neil De Beer, but commonly known, uh, in actual fact, my MK name was Skansolzo. So I can start there. I was born
Mm,
in the Western Cape. I was born on a
mm,
small farm outside Stellenbosch. I was born and raised in Ikapa. I went to the military like every young
mm,
white man did in the early 80s. But then, Tobacco, my life changed. I went through a huge political and
mm,
personal period, and I don't know, something happened in
mm,
me. And in 1988, this young
mm,
Umlungu boy from Ikapa, I
mm,
joined Umkhonto Wesizwe.
mm,
So in
mm,
1988, I took a huge change of ideology. I took a
mm,
huge faith in the
mm,
message of Nelson Rolihlahla Madiba Mandela to
mm,
understand the
mm,
leadership that we had then, the voice of Albert Lutuli, the voice of
mm,
Governor Mbeki, Owar Tambo, and
mm,
Walter Sisulu. And
mm,
although people think it's weird, why would a white guy that is Afrikaans, that is
mm,
privileged in the
mm.
apartheid era, why would he fight and go to the extreme? Well, it was about
Mm.
dignity. So yeah, I'm one of those strange
Yes.
guys that believed in that your color of your skin means nothing,
Mm,
but it is
mm,
the hugeness of your soul. So yeah, I was in
mm,
the struggle from 88. I was
mm,
fighting against the apartheid
mm,
regime. We were hunted,
mm,
and in
mm,
94, which is now known, we got history, we got freedom.
mm,
And then for the
mm,
following years, I served in the different structures of the ANC and was for
mm,
32 years in and out
mm,
of the service of the African National
mm,
Congress. And in
mm,
2017, I decided
mm.
things need to change, Tebogo, because
Yes.
at that stage, the ANC became a different ANC already. It was
Mm,
not the ANC of
yeah.
Mandela.
Mm,
And in 2017, I stood and said I would run for the NEC of the
mm,
ANC for Nazareth in 2017, and unfortunately, because of many reasons, I didn't make it, but I ended up number 281
mm,
on the national
mm,
candidate list for the NEC.
mm,
And then Tebogo, I decided that's it. I decided that I could not try to change the ANC from inside. We went into
mm,
the
mm,
CR campaign. He became the president.
yeah.
And now today
Mm,
we know why all the reasons were that we have now been put in the position as a huge
mm,
liberation movement, a movement that
mm,
gave people liberty, to something today that I am shamed
mm,
and shocked with. And
mm,
therefore, I started my own party 3 years
mm,
ago called the
mm,
United
mm.
Independent Movement, this one here,
Yes. Mm,
because I
mm,
want to
mm,
free and help free
mm,
still the people of this
mm,
country by
mm,
using the slogan that we used in the ANC in 94 called A Better Life for All, but it never came. So
mm.
I'm now
Oh.
running, and we are 3 years old, and that's where I am today. I'm a councillor of Cape Town. I have councillors
Mm,
of my party in eThekwini and in
mm,
Johannesburg. We won in the local government election 2 years ago some seats in metros. And Tebogo,
mm,
this is our first go
mm.
at a national election. So it's new,
Yeah.
it's crazy,
Yeah.
but I'm enjoying every Nomhlanje, aposebenza. I mean, if you are working on a Sunday, aposebenza, Nomhlanje. We have 66 days.
Yes. Yeah. Mm, mm. So I can say ANC failed you, not only you, it failed the South Africans, from what you are
Yes,
telling me. Am I correct?
yes, it did. It failed.
Mm.
And it
So
didn't
before I
fail
get
as a liberation movement. I think a person
yes,
must
yes,
divide that. We must be honest with
yes,
ourselves. The ANC did
yes.
not fail in the mission to deliver liberation.
Okay.
Therefore, we
Yeah.
say thank you, Siabolela, Kalibucha.
Mm. Yeah.
But what we are saying is the failure, Tebogo, was
Mm,
that the
mm,
ANC over 30 years could not deliver a successful government. The
sure.
ANC could not bring the people that are poor into
Mm,
middle class, not rich,
mm,
middle class. And also,
mm,
the ANC cannot get it right to make informal
mm,
settlements formal. They failed.
mm.
And it's
Yeah.
not a problem, Tebogo.
Yeah.
Failure is part of life.
Mm,
Failure is part
mm,
of life. But the
mm,
problem with the current ANC
mm,
and the top people is they are refusing to acknowledge, they are refusing to take
mm,
responsibility and make that change. And therefore, they must go. I'm sorry. Hamagatle. It's finished. Dololo.
mm, mm, mm. No, I think what you are saying, many South Africans are saying the same thing. The only thing is that they saying we understand the ANC has failed and so forth, but where can I mean where can we find that party that can really uphold to these principles of South Africa, especially those days of apartheid, where people like yourself, who even if you were white and Afrikaner, but you took up, I mean, arms to say no, no, not in my name. We are going to change this country because I don't believe in this attitude of the apartheid government. So, I mean, what do you think should have should happen now? Now, what do you think?
Tebogo, we must do 5 things. We mustn't make this
Mm,
complicated. We must do 5 things.
yes.
One, we must
Mm,
understand that we fought a struggle against racism.
yes.
We are now more racially divided than what we were pre 94.
I agree.
We have
Mm,
now become
true.
again black and white. We
Ah.
fought for a rainbow nation. We are now
Mm,
again black against colored, colored against Indian,
mm,
Indian against
mm,
white. In the
mm,
Niwe, Nomslanje, the Niwe, we are tired
yes.
of continually
Mm,
going back to race.
mm,
So, number one,
mm,
we
mm,
need to be a united country. We are so
Yes.
different, but it is the difference
Mm.
between us that makes us one of the
Mm.
strongest countries in this world.
Yes.
Number two,
Yes.
we must
Mm.
scrap black economic empowerment as a tool to enrich
Mm.
some and leave the majority poor. BEE, Tobacco,
Yes.
failed. It
Yes.
failed.
Mm.
And we must
Mm.
move away from BEE to NEE, National Economic Empowerment, because we need
Mm.
all the new age children, black and white,
Mm.
the people that were
Mm.
born outside apartheid, to leave
Mm.
apartheid and build a new future. And they can only do
Mm.
that if black children, white children,
Mm.
colored children, and Indian children stand together. So economic policies must be now
Mm.
for everybody in this country. Number
Mm.
3 out of 5, we must fight crime.
Mm.
We must not
Yes.
allow crime to murder our children. So a guy like Beki Tele must go because
Mm.
he's failed. And
Mm.
he's not just
Mm.
failed
Mm.
farm murders, community murders, gang murders,
Mm.
AKA
Mm.
murders. He has let
Mm.
people of all nationality get murdered. He must move, and we must bring back
Mm.
zero tolerance in crime. Number 4,
Mm.
we must eradicate corruption. And it's
Mm.
not corruption, Tebogo. They are
Mm.
stealing. It's not corrupt.
Yes.
They must go to
Mm.
jail. It's our
Mm.
money. 3 trillion
Mm.
rand they stole from us.
Mm.
And
Mm.
lastly,
Mm.
education in this country, primary
Mm.
and secondary education under a UIM government will be free.
Mm.
So
Mm.
if we make primary and secondary education free, but it must then become a law that you
Mm.
must be at school, then there is no
Mm.
excuse.
Mm.
So you fix the 5
Yeah.
primary: crime, corruption, the
Mm.
economy,
Mm.
and
Mm.
maybe
Mm.
if we first stop and fix that, then we will be a
Yes.
proud nation again. But it
Mm.
won't be
Mm.
politicians that do this, Tebogo.
Mm.
Politicians can't fix this country. If they say so,
Mm.
you are lying. You are
Mm.
lying. It must be the
Mm.
people that must get
Mm.
up and say,
Mm.
enough, nomslanje, enough.
Mm. 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 Yeah, no, no, I hear you. I'm relating to some of the things that you are saying there, especially issues of crime, issues of education. I'm relating. So now, in your own view, what do you think the what is the cause of this high level of crime in South Africa? Because to be honest with you, I grew up in South Africa and then in the Northwest province where it used to be called Bophuthatswana. I can tell you, I have never, as a child, I have never saw such a humongous, such an irritating level of crime where
Sure.
people hold guns in the morning. Do they lie? People are holding guns. I mean, what nonsense is that? In your view, what do you think is the cause of this?
Ini, Zimbini, Zintat.
Mm.
There are 3 reasons why. 3 reasons. Number
Mm.
1,
Mm.
you must agree with me
Yeah.
that the home, the
Mm.
family unit, the
Mm.
society unit has
Mm.
disappeared,
Mm.
Tebogo.
Oh,
We used to
yeah.
say in a village where I grew up called Umtata.
Yes.
When I grew up in Umtata, we used to
Mm.
say it takes a village to raise a child.
Mm.
You know,
True.
when it was a village and your mom or dad usabenza, your uncle used to
Mm.
give you a hiding. Your auntie used to
Mm.
give you a hiding. Your neighbor used to
Yes.
give you a hiding if you were wrong.
Yes.
Now, no one schools a child.
Mm.
So, the first reason
Mm.
we have a
Mm.
collapse and crime is
Mm.
because the home unit has died.
Mm.
You have mothers
Yeah.
that are fathers now. You have single
Mm.
parent homes. You don't have the
Mm.
family unit. And that's where we
Mm.
used to come from. We used to be taught
Mm.
discipline Ikaya.
Mm.
So
Yes.
one, the reason there's
Mm.
a breakdown in law and order, the home has
Mm.
fallen flat.
Mm. Yo.
Zimbin, the second rule,
Mm.
is
Yes.
a mass collapse of job
Mm.
and economic
Mm.
opportunity to school and
Mm.
feed local
Mm.
society. And that is
Mm.
the ANC.
Mm.
Ukaya dololo,
Mm.
usebenza dololo, umali
Mm.
dololo,
Mm.
education dololo, health service
Yo.
dololo, dololo
Yo.
dololo dololo. So if you cannot dololo,
Yo.
chief. So if you cannot
Mm. Mm.
occupy the youth, if you cannot feed the people,
Mm.
they'll go to crime.
Mm.
Sorry.
Ah.
So
Mm.
it's not an
Mm.
excuse, it's
Mm.
not an endorsement,
Mm.
but it's fact. Tebogo.
It's a fact. Mm.
No food,
Mm. Mm.
ayiko sebenza,
Mm.
you go steal.
Mm. Yeah.
And the last
Mm.
one is that this
Mm.
government is part of the
Mm.
crime. Yes, they
Yo.
are.
Mm.
They are worse
Mm.
gangsters than the gangsters.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
how do you think in a country where there's no home and discipline at home, when there is
Mm.
no work and no
Mm.
economic opportunity, and the government,
Mm.
a quarter or a half of them are found to be criminals according to Zondo,
Mm.
themselves, and the speaker
Mm.
last week is also locked up?
Mm.
That's why.
Yeah. Mm.
And I'm
Mm.
sorry, Tebogo,
Mm.
that's not the apartheid government. They gone,
Mm.
chief. I'm
Mm.
not who passed.
Of
I'm talking about
true.
Nomslanje,
True.
Ugomso.
Yes.
And if you want to
Yes.
add one more, there is zero respect for the police. Zero.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
at least
Mm.
in my and your time, when you see
Yes.
the yellow van come around the corner, if you were guilty
yo,
or
yo,
not
yo.
guilty, Paleka put.
The respect was there. The
Yeah.
respect was there. Mm. So
So
I also
that's a
look at
problem.
yeah. Mm. 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 I also look at the issue of our education system because you will remember in those days that kids were disciplined at school.
Yeah.
And then we are not encouraging that they beat or abuse the children, but kids were disciplined. We can say excuse those who were abusing them and say this we don't want. But the
Sure.
level of discipline, the level of respect towards teachers, I mean, you couldn't question it. A teacher in the community was a father, a priest, a prophet, a policeman, whatever you can name it. But today, as I speak to you, a child goes to a school having a knife, comes and stab a principal. A child comes with a gun, enter the school premises, and then the same government says kids must not be searched because they're not criminals. And they enter the schoolyard with guns, they shoot the teachers. And then I don't know. I want your view there. I want your view
You
on
know,
the issue of the
a,
discipline at school.
a great Umfwandisi. There was a great Umfwandisi. He was
Yeah.
retiring. So he called
Mm.
all his churchgoers because his son was becoming the new Umfwandisi. So they
Yes.
had the old pastor there and they were asking him questions about life, you know. And he turned and
Mm.
his son said to him, now, Umfwandisi, what do you think about discipline of
Mm.
children? Now,
Yes.
this, Umfwandisi is about 82, and he looks at this guy and he says, you've got to
Yeah.
beat them or they're going to die. So, what he meant
Mm.
was, and you are right, we're not talking
Mm.
about abuse of children. We're not talking about the people that abuse
Yeah.
children. But let me tell you,
Yes.
Mina,
Yes.
my
Mm.
dad
Mm.
murdered me. My mother murdered me. Yorkshire. And let me tell you, if the teacher murdered me at school and my dad
Mm.
heard that my teacher murdered me at school,
Mm.
he murdered me
Mm.
again. And it was about discipline. It was not only
Yes.
fear, It was respect.
Yes.
We
Yes.
took the rod
Mm,
away and
mm,
we replaced it with
mm,
this thing called human rights.
mm,
But what we didn't
mm,
realize is that by
mm,
turning this thing human rights, we have given the
mm,
prisoners, we have given the
mm,
criminals, we have given the people
mm,
now more human rights than the people that they make crime against.
mm, mm,
This is not right, Tebogo. So
mm,
we've got to
mm,
go back
mm,
and say, we've had 30 years of ANC rule, we've had 100 years of apartheid rule,
mm,
and there's one
mm.
thing that is similar. In the apartheid
Yes.
era, the people tried
Mm,
to cut education, cut freedom of
mm,
speech, and oppress the
mm,
media. Isn't it
mm.
starting to become the same in the ANC? They are
The same.
cutting your voice, they are oppressing the
Yes.
people, and they are throttling the
Yes.
media. This sounds the same.
Yes.
And worse than
It's
that,
the same.
they haven't
Mm,
educated the masses, Tebogo.
mm, mm, mm,
So
mm,
I'm sorry.
mm,
Someone said to
mm,
me, Skanzonso, you left the ANC
mm,
after more than 20 years. Why? And I
mm,
said, because hear me, Mamela,
mm.
Mamela
Yes.
Kabane, Nelson Mandela,
Mm,
my
mm,
commander, my leader of that time,
mm,
made the following
mm,
quote.
mm,
These are his
mm,
words, Tebogo. He
mm,
said,
mm,
if
mm,
the ANC does to you, which the
mm,
apartheid government did to us, then do to
mm,
the ANC what you did
mm,
to the apartheid
mm,
government, and I'm doing
mm,
everything I can to follow that command with pleasure.
mm, mm, mm. And I don't think people should fault you for that, because what thing that I like
No,
about you is that you went outside, you joined MK, and you wanted this country to have freedom, but now it seems as if you're going there now doesn't even bear fruits, because it's now comrades who an elite of comrades there who are chowing this money of the poor people, and then they hide behind this thing of we are giving you 350 and so forth, so they can get the votes. No, I don't think nobody can, no one can fault you on that, especially what you just quoted now. Nelson Mandela said it very clearly. He said it very clearly,
but
and he was not.
Tobacco, it
He
wasn't,
was not.
sorry,
Yeah.
it wasn't just
Yes.
Mandela.
Yes.
Owar Tambo said, the only
Mm,
people that will be able to destroy the ANC will be the
mm,
ANC themselves. He
yeah.
said so.
Ah. Mm,
And then Chris
yes.
Hani said,
Mm,
you can go Google this. These were
mm,
people that prophesied. Chris Hani said, when
mm.
leadership start to fight about the ownership of a Mercedes Benz, leadership
Yes. Yes.
is lost.
I read that. Yes. Yes.
Now, you
I
asked
saw
a
that
very
on.
critical
Yeah.
question. Tobacco, you asked a very critical question. You said, but Neil,
Mm,
then what
mm,
party do we vote for?
mm.
Now,
Yes.
Tobacco, that's a very important question.
Mm, mm,
I'm not
mm,
saying vote for me. You know, the
mm,
UIM is a new party.
mm,
We
mm,
started 3 years ago. Yeah, we are
mm,
running for national government. And here
mm,
is the thing I decided. I
mm,
want a colorless, racialist
mm,
party. I
mm,
want a united party. I
mm,
want a party where all religions and traditions of religion and leadership
mm,
is respected.
mm,
Where the
mm,
Xhosa
mm,
culture, the Pondo
mm.
culture, the Sakau,
Yeah.
the Zulu,
Mm,
the Pedi,
mm,
the
mm,
Bafokeng, the Khoisan, where
mm,
we are recognizing the diversity in our party.
mm,
Number
mm,
3,
mm,
where we can be South Africans,
mm,
not
mm.
black South African or white South African. And lastly, Tobacco,
Yes. Yes.
that we
Mm,
make sure
mm,
that every child that's born, if that child is born in Diepsloot, if he is born in Langa,
mm,
Nyanga, Kwatema or Kayalija, that child's dream can be realized. That's what my party stands for. And that's what I'm saying. Don't vote for a party that's racially objective, that wants to divide this country, who doesn't learn from the history, but does not stay in history. Tebogo, we cannot live in our past. We must never forget it.
It's true.
But we must fight for a new beginning.
I want to ask you this question. It's related to crime and the issue of Nyaope. I know you're familiar with the term Nyaope. Yeah. So Nyaope is everywhere in the township. It is so sad that especially in the black community, almost every house, the fifth house, possibilities are there's one person who's taking Nyaope there. I might be exaggerating, of course, but I'm just trying to paint this picture to you to say Nyaope has taken over. At first, at the beginning, you mentioned that you used to go to military as a tradition. And then, but can we still say the same thing now when these young people who start Nyaope at the age of 10, 11, 12, and then when they are 30, and then they die? So what is that harsh plan from your party when coming strictly to this issue of Nyaope?
Well, firstly, in many areas, there are 3 drugs. One is Nyaope.
Yes.
The other one is tik. They call it tik.
Yes.
And the other one is mandrax. So you're not talking, please don't get me wrong, I'm trying to explain.
Yes.
You get the high-end drug. So the high-end drug is the cocaine. It's the morphine. It is the top drug, which many people can't afford. And then you get the affordable drug. So it's not the heroin, it's not the cocaine, it's not that. So you're talking the Nyaope is what they call an affordable drug substance. Your tik in the Western Cape, we call it tik, is exactly the same like a affordable Nyaope. Now, I tell you the 3 things I know because I'm back in law enforcement at the moment, Tebogo. So currently I serve in Cape Town as a councillor, but I'm involved in the Safety and Security Portfolio Committee of the City of Cape Town. So I'm involved with Metro Police, I'm involved with law enforcement in the City of Cape Town. So I am still directly involved in the law enforcement fraternity. Every week, I go out nearly 2-3 nights with the police on the ground. So I can tell you, this is not opinion, this is personal. I'm getting kids on the street between 8 years and 12 years that are drugged. We are going into houses where the mom and dad are so goofed of the drug, and there's a 6-month-old baby lying on the bed in the shack. And that baby hasn't eaten for a day. You are finding that people have no hope. They are hungry. They have no job. They want to get away from reality. And the only thing they have is to dope themselves and knock out the pain. We are having, as government, to take responsibility, not to take the fault, not to say we own the mistake, but we must do something about it. So if you know what I have professed, I have said that we have to do something called direct poverty intervention, Tebogo, to talk and to give children a sandwich at school does not fill the child. We must bring in absolute direct poverty intervention and at the same time curb drug usage on the ground. There must be zero tolerance. But you can't say take the drug away, take the dependence away, but you don't have a social responsibility. We can all sit like this, but the drugs are going to go on. The Nyaope is going to go on. So we have to climb in as government to sort out the social responsibility, take zero tolerance on the people supplying the drugs, and now you're going to get a fright because this is something people went, what? They went, are you crazy? I said, yes, I am crazy. I am bringing back, the minute that we take government, I'm bringing back 1 year national mandatory service in this country. If you leave school, you are 18, you will give a year in service to this country. You will do 1 year national service. Now, it's not going to be military. No, it's going to be 1 year national service in a department of state, which you want to one day maybe go into a career. Let me give you an example. If you want to be an engineer, you will spend 1 year in the Department of Public Works, and you will do an understudy in that department. If you want to become a lawyer, you will serve a year in the Department of Justice. If you want to become, etc., etc., but you will give 1 year to this country. And then, Tebogo, if you give us that year, you will then be able to get a tertiary education grant from this country. Now, can you imagine 1 year, you go back to camp, my brother? Yeah, so you're going to stay in a camp, the men with men and the women with women. And then maybe if 30 guys stay like we used to stay in the army, and Tebogo, Sipu, Yanni, Vincent was staying in one camp for a year, then maybe the guys will start understanding what is the different cultures between each other, and they are then forced to work together, and then they will unite as one country.
No, that is powerful. That is powerful, Mr. DB. That is powerful. You know, I've spoken to leaders of political parties and different structures. I've never had such a brilliant something, you know, because that on its own, it brings what you're talking about, the unity, so that we are South Africans. We don't become white South African, black South African, and that on its own is going to force that, because when we go to tertiary, that is the first time we get to encounter a situation where I meet a white person or an Indian in class, but sometimes you're not even friends, and then they go home, I go home, and then that's it. So it doesn't necessarily bring the closeness that you're talking about. And I can tell you that it's a brilliant idea. And if given a chance, if maybe they will steal it, maybe ANC, if they win, they will steal they will steal that idea. But that, yeah.
Let me tell you, there's nothing that makes people become quickly together when you have to carry one tractor tire together from one place to another. My brother, you are quickly going to stop fighting, because you know if you don't take this tire 1 kilometer, you're not eating tonight. And here's another one. Someone said, how do you sort out joblessness? Can I tell you? The day that I become a minister or a president or parliament, I'm going to appoint 9,000 people. The first day, we are going to appoint a operational fix-it team, 1,000 per province. We are paying them a daily stipend of 150 Rand a day. And those 1,000 provincial fix-it teams will engage day and night on starting to fix basic infrastructure. They will be going and fixing potholes, mowing our lawns, looking at our cities. 1,000. They will be working in our old military camps that are standing dead still. So we will feed them, we will occupy them, and we will rotate them. 9,000 people will start the next day that I take office. We will give them dignity by paying them. And then we will, and then someone said, but Neil, how will you afford that? Well, stop stealing, government. You see, you stole R1 trillion. So if you stop the government from stealing, this is simple. Can you imagine 9,000 people being able to work? And then, here's another one. No
mm,
prisoner will
mm,
stay in jail and stay in their cell day in and day out anymore.
mm,
At 6 o'clock, they
mm,
will get up. At
mm,
6:30, they will finish shower. At 7 o'clock, they will
mm,
be fed. And exactly 8 o'clock,
mm,
all
mm,
prisoners will be put into what we call labor teams. And they're going
mm.
to do one thing. They're going to become farmers, Tebogo. So the prisoners of this country are going to, yes, they're going to make
Mm,
their own vegetables. They're going to
mm,
farm their own cattle. We are giving that to
mm,
them.
mm,
Therefore, they will become
mm,
people that understand that there is a future for them because
mm,
they don't have to pay for their crime for the rest of their life,
mm,
Tebogo. But they must
mm,
work
mm,
so that they can
mm,
show the
mm,
people of this country that they can add value.
mm,
So, yes, they will become people that will
mm,
grow food. If they do that,
mm.
we don't need the Busasas of the world on tenders to feed the
Hey.
people at jail. They will make their own
Mm,
food. And here's a good one:
mm,
they will be able to
mm.
also give the excess vegetables to their direct communities. Elsabanza, but Elsabanza.
Mm, mm. Seems as if you've got solution for this country. Yeah,
Yes,
you know all these things you mentioned, and I'm not even objecting to one because to me they make sense. Honestly, I'm not buying your face. They make sense. They just make
Tobacco,
sense
tobacco,
because if
sorry.
they have,
You
yes,
just said the right word. It makes
yeah.
common sense. You see, you don't have to be a politician to be clever.
Yeah, sure. So the issue of borders, the issue of borders. In Africa, we have borders, and in South Africa, you can hear political parties open the borders, open the borders. So what is your take, your policy as you are UI? What did I say? UIM, yes. What is your policy on borders?
I'm putting 8,500 soldiers back onto the border in the
Mm,
first 6 months.
mm,
In the previous times of regulation of border security, it was the
mm,
responsibility of the army, not the police.
mm,
You see, the
mm,
police is a statutory force that fights domestic crime. When you
mm,
go stand on a border in a bush, it's a different kind of strategy. We made a
mm,
mistake
mm,
by handing
mm,
border control to the police.
mm.
Now we
Yeah.
started this new border unit, but they come from the police.
Mm,
Amapolesa.
mm,
Police cannot
mm,
protect an international border. They are not schooled for
mm,
that. The military is.
mm,
So, number
mm,
one, I'm deploying 8,500 soldiers on the ambient
mm,
of the northern borders of the Republic of South
mm,
Africa. Number
mm,
two, I'm shutting it down. Number three,
mm,
we will make sure that the kind of border control between us and Namibia, us and Mozambique,
mm,
us and Zimbabwe,
mm,
that the border isn't
mm,
shut for border movement, but that it is
mm,
controlled for illegal and legal immigrant. Because
mm,
this country cannot become an island. You are
mm,
usile, nomslanje, if you are saying we do not want international visitors. That is dumb to
mm,
say that, Tebogo. What we
mm,
will
mm,
have in this country is
mm,
command and control. Now,
mm,
for people in
mm,
political parties, and I see there are many, to come and tell us that they will deport 1 billion and they will do. You're talking about people that
mm,
never wore uniform.
mm,
So I'm sorry, they don't have a
mm,
bloody queue. They are
mm,
politicians. They never
mm,
served in a uniform. They never. So it's easy for them to say, no, we will just deport 1 million people. It doesn't work that way. You know it. So you need
mm,
a very structured military, defense, and border control,
mm,
discipline, and enforcement control. You need to come up with a technical ideology of how do we practically enforce on the ground. And then I think, Tebogo, it's not an argument to have our brothers and sisters of Africa here, but they must be legal.
Yes.
I laughed. The other day I had to go to Germany. It took me 3 months, Tebogo, to get my visa. I had to do visa. I had to pay. I had to do criminal check. I was laughing. I said, "You want a blood sample? I mean, a DNA test. I mean, what more?" So it just shows you how certain countries defend their entry and exit legally, and how some countries just allow. It's our fault, Tebogo. So I have no problem. I'll say it on record. I have no problem on any person that comes to our country to be either a student, to become a person to add value, who wants to come work here, but you are not coming into this country and adding to the tax burden of state or to become a criminal amongst us. No, that will not happen. But we must not look at what could we do. We must know what we're going to do and do it. So I'm very clear on that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So I know your party is based on Christian values. Unless if I'm not correct, but as far as I know, it's based on Christian values. And I'm thinking on issues of LGBTQs, all those type of issues, because even if you are a politician and then you are trying to accommodate everyone, but you will still find some of your members who are extreme Christians, and then they will say, but no, why are you accommodating this? And then why? But the Bible says, and all those things. So maybe clarify us so that we don't get confused today.
Sure. I think that's very easy. We are first and foremost a political party. We're not a church.
Yeah.
We are a political party. There are political parties called Al Jamar. There are political parties called the African Christian Democratic Party, the ACDP. So that is a church and political party at the same time. I am a political party, first and foremost. I have as a value, as my fundamental value of my own personal guideline and norm, Christianity. But our party also absolutely recognizes other recognized religions in faith. So we absolutely respect and recognize Islam. We absolutely understand the Torah and our Jewish constituency, and we also know the Hindu constituency, Namaste. So we are not just Christian, we are a faith-based political party. So we are not a party created by faith. We are a party in faith. So that's first and foremost. So when you look at, for example, we have 5 C's as our manifesto. That's it. 5 C's. You see, Tebogo, when you put 300 pages, people don't want to read anymore.
They can't read that.
Sorry, Chief. People don't read it. So I made it simple. 5 C's.
Yeah.
First C, fight crime. Second C, stop corruption. Third C, bring back the capital that is stolen back to the people. So capital.
Yeah.
Fourth one, defend and protect and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. And the fifth one, like we just spoke about, is stand within your Christianity and based religion and faith. Those are the 5. Now, you are talking about 2 C's that could at times become conflict. That's the one that says Christianity and the other one, Constitution.
Constitution. Yes.
Now, we
Mm,
do not make every argument a faith-based argument.
mm,
We make it a
mm,
constitutional argument. So, for example, in this country, abortion,
mm,
LGBTQ, and all
mm,
those matters that are always debated, they are protected and enshrined
mm,
under the protection of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa.
mm,
That's a fact.
mm, mm,
But on the other
mm,
hand, what we
mm,
also understand is the individual right, the understanding that the person that lives according to his faith or her faith, that which is
mm,
enshrined at times in the Constitution is direct in conflict with their Torah, with their Bible, with their
mm,
Quran. We
mm,
understand that.
mm,
But what we
mm,
say is, and I always say it, I'm not going to go in a religious debate because tell me, the Bible is sometimes quite forthright in stoning people. We have moved
yes.
on in time. So here's my explanation.
Mm,
When someone
mm,
directly who was in the LGBTQ community asked me,
mm,
will I protect them or will I not? And I said, if you force your sexuality, your personal habit, and your personal stance on another whom do not share the same, then I will protect that person against you. So you have the right, according to the law of this country,
mm,
to be whom you want to
mm,
be at home who
mm,
you want
mm,
to be. But when you
mm,
overstep the mark and enforce such, no matter what it is, even if you're a
mm.
vegetarian and you are forcing me to eat pumpkin and leave my nyama, that's wrong because it's my choice.
Yes.
So when there was a massive debate the other day, when one political party wanted to stand in the new Bella Act and in the new law to
Mm,
put transgender toilets at schools,
mm,
Tebogo, no, no.
mm,
The UIM said no. Now, why did
mm,
we say no? We didn't say no because we want to trample on people's rights. But
mm,
can you imagine you put a transgender toilet in a public school? Can you imagine the
mm,
bullying, the jeopardy you will put
mm,
those students in harm's
mm,
way? Because the
mm,
teacher can't even stop a child stabbing the principal. We can't
mm,
even stop racial fight at a
mm,
school. How are you going to
mm,
police transgender?
mm, mm,
So you see,
mm,
there must always be an open discussion. There must always be
mm,
the
mm,
understanding of human rights and freedom to liberty, association, and speech. But as
mm,
long as the one does not indignify, jeopardize, or suppress another, then we
mm,
will abide by the law of the land.
mm, mm, mm. No, I think that's fair. Your answer is clear. It's clear. It's clear. We can't question that. You answered so. I mean, you to the satisfaction. So I don't think anyone can say no. You're saying this or that. It's clear. It's clear. And
You
then we
know,
understand this.
Tobacco was like the jab. Remember COVID, lockdown?
Yes.
We had
Yes.
to fight about the jab.
Yes. Yes.
And I said, taking the jab will never, under my rule, be enforced on a human
Mm,
being.
mm,
It's your choice. It's your body.
yes.
It should be your
Mm,
choice. I was
true.
very mad when a government wants
Mm,
to get up and tell you and me what we must
mm,
and must not put in to our body.
mm,
It cannot be
mm,
just allowed.
mm, mm.
And
And
look what they
and
did. I mean,
yeah,
they stole 500 billion rand during COVID.
twice. They stole it twice. And just to add on that, the very same thing that jab, they say now that was a trial, and people came forward to say, but you can't have a vaccine within 2 months. I mean, it has never
No,
happened in the
no,
world. So if you
no.
are saying this vaccine is been there, it means you knew that there was gonna be a COVID.
Ah,
So it was just a mix up of other things that do not make sense. So I don't want. I'm not taking away you from this one, but I'm also interested in one part. But I'll come back to this one. But I want to take you out a bit and then bring you back again. Uh, I should have done this at the beginning, but I didn't want to disturb your movement as we are talking. So one thing that interested me is that you were the national security
yeah,
advisor
I was one of the
to
national security advisors in the
yes,
era of Mandela's presidency.
yes. So basically, what is it that is happening there when you are in that advisory committee?
So because I came from a security background, so in other words, people
Mm,
that were in MK, people that were in the security cluster,
mm,
many of the people were involved then in that period to go either into the police, into the army, or into intelligence. So prior
mm.
to the government being formed, and that's a very interesting story. Nobody's ever asked me. So this is a very,
Mm,
very interesting story.
mm,
So
mm,
I was appointed as a national security advisor
mm,
of the ANC in a
mm,
very specific but very, very exciting department. And that was the Department of Arts and Culture.
mm,
So
mm.
this is the fantastic story, which I've never been able to tell anybody. So Tebogo, before apartheid was declared over in 94,
Mm,
you will remember there was an international entertainment and arts boycott against South
mm,
Africa.
mm. Yeah, I
So
remember. Yes, yeah.
international artists were not allowed to come and perform in the
Mm,
apartheid South Africa.
mm,
So there was
mm,
also a boycott of sport
mm,
against
mm,
South Africa. And there was
mm,
also an economic boycott. So anyway, so just after the 1991 unbanning of
mm,
the African National Congress, the
mm,
setting free of Madiba,
mm,
there was the decision then of the ANC that it would now ask for the unbanning
mm,
of this country on the Department of Arts and Culture. But now
mm,
they needed
mm,
security people
mm,
who would look after the now hundreds of people that wanted to come and perform in
mm.
South Africa in aid of Nelson Mandela.
Yo.
So, although it
Mm,
was the ANC government in waiting that was now saying to people
mm,
that they can come, anybody who now of international artists can come. John
mm,
Cicada was coming. I think Elton John
mm,
came again. It was the era
mm,
of Simon and Garfunkel, and these were the artists that were Whitney
mm,
Houston.
mm,
What was her name? Oprah Winfrey,
mm,
Sarafina, the
mm.
lady, Whoopi Goldberg. These were the people.
Yes, the
Yeah,
yeah,
she
the
did
dread one.
Sarafina.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I was the person that
Mm,
was the national security advisor and coordinator for all these artists and
mm,
taking care of their security
mm,
solutions
mm,
while they were planning and when they were coming to our South Africa. Because the
mm,
ANC took then the lead to unban them, but obviously the ANC had to take responsibility for their security. So there I was the NSA, and I enjoyed every minute.
yeah.
It wasn't work to
Mm.
me. It was an absolute
Yeah.
pleasure. So yeah, I
It
was
was
in that
fun.
era. I was one of them.
Mm, okay. No, I just wanted to get that
Yeah,
of the way. So yeah. So I think I've got two last questions
sure.
because the thing is I don't know how busy you are, so we don't want to
I thought one of the
disturb you.
questions would be what do I think of the MK party?
Yeah, we might go there.
Yo,
So Yeah. So I want to ask you this one. The issue of land. Not all parties are talking much about it, except EFF. Of course, they are talking, but they are not that vocal like EFF as it says. So, what's your take on the issue of land in general?
It's easy.
Mm,
Land
mm,
has no more
mm,
international value.
mm,
What is more
mm,
important than owning land is what are you going to put on the land.
mm,
So
mm,
I want to change people's minds here quickly.
mm, mm,
Traditionally, many, many years ago, Tebogo,
mm,
it was a huge thing to own land,
mm,
hundreds and thousands of hectares of land.
mm, mm,
In the modern era, land doesn't have value anymore. It's
mm.
what you do on the land. So
What
I
you
look
do
at
is the
people,
one. Mm,
I look
mm,
at people and I go, there's 125,000,
mm,
124,000 hectares
mm,
of
mm,
unclaimed land in the Eastern
mm,
Cape.
mm.
You know, when you drive from Ciskei to
Yes.
Transkei, when you
Mm,
drive all the way from East London to Mtata,
mm,
why don't you take that land?
mm. Yeah.
Ah.
Mm,
And
mm,
in between all that land,
mm,
there's water, amanzi,
mm,
there's water.
mm,
So when you
mm,
drive just outside Mtata, there's
mm,
a river called the Umzumvubu,
mm,
which means hippo. And the
mm,
Umzumvubu goes from the north and it goes all the way and it goes out in Port St. John's.
mm, mm,
So you have land and you've
mm,
got water.
mm,
And I know that land that if you take one piece of mealie and you put it in the ground, it grows.
mm, mm.
Tebogo, it's not about land,
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
about taking land.
Oh,
Because if you wanted land, the
yeah.
biggest landowner of current open land is
Mm,
the South African government.
mm,
So here's the thing.
mm,
I think we got it wrong.
mm.
I want to give you a story, Tebogo. You must hear this
Yes.
if you can.
Mm,
There was a farm called Moy River Farm
mm,
in KZN. It was the biggest dairy farm in South Africa.
mm,
It had the biggest milk supply, one of the biggest, to clover
mm,
in South Africa.
mm, mm,
So this government decides to buy that farm at the amount of 84 million rand.
mm.
I'm just giving you figures. Ne?
Yes, yes.
Could be more, could be less, could be north, could be
Yeah.
south. I'm giving you a story.
Mm, yeah.
They pay the farmer, let's call him Koos. They
Yes.
give Koos the 80 million.
Mm,
Koos takes the money,
mm.
baleka. He goes,
Mm,
buys himself a beautiful house in Umhlanga. And
mm,
what does Koos do every day? He's got 80 million.
mm,
They take the farm, they create a co op, and
mm,
they make all the farm workers
mm,
members of the co op.
mm,
Now, the co op owns the farm, the co op owns the cows, the co op
mm,
owns the property, it owns the tractor, it owns
mm,
every. Now, remember, this is one of the largest dairy
mm,
producing farms in the country. It was
mm,
making something like 1 million a month.
mm,
Within 6 months, they slaughtered the
mm.
cows. In 9 months, they started to sell the tractors and the trucks.
Yeah.
And then they went back to Parliament and asked them for more money. That's what happened. This is a fact. There's no lying. So what's wrong with that story? You wanted land, you got land. You got more than land, you got an operating commercial farm.
Sure.
So what do you want more? And of those that I just told you now, don't get a fright, there's another 800 like that. They are standing dead now. And we spent more than 20 billion. So can I tell you what's the problem, Tebogo? It's not the ownership of the land. It is not the ownership of the business. It's the fact that Wimkwis was not forced to stay on that farm and stay another 2 years and mentor the people how to run and own a farm. So what would I do? I would pay Wimkwis 60 million and I would keep 20 million in trust. And when he finishes successfully to mentor these people, then he only gets the last 20 million. We got it wrong. It's not about ownership. It's about mentorship. It's about ownership of skill, not land. So we must stop demanding land. We must start demanding land and education of what do you do with the land. Because you can have 1 million hectares, you will still be poor.
No, I agree. I agree. You remind me of one minister. I think now is a minister of the defense force or something. Who had a pig farm. What do you call the pig? Ne? Pig, is it pig farm?
Yeah.
You call it pig farm. Yeah. So remember, she had a pig farm, and then the pigs were dying there. The minister was Cape Town, Pretoria, because she's not a farmer. She's not a farmer. So no, you are reminding me of that to say, no, I get you when, it's okay.
It's our responsibility. Let me tell you, I talk to a lot of farmers, black and white.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what all the farmers are saying? Every time you kill a farmer in this country, you're not killing a man. You're killing food. You're killing our food.
I agree.
Now, you must agree with me, Tebogo. You cannot eat money. You cannot eat technology. You eat food, my brother. What is going to happen in this country when the remaining farmers decide to stop farming? Can I tell you what will happen? KwaZulu-Natal. Looting. Tebogo, when people get hungry and the food is not in the shop anymore, the people will go to revolution, my brother. So instead of killing our farmers, we must create more farms. We must create more farmers. So I'll tell you, the white and the black farmer today, they're not fighting each other. It's the people like Julius Frikkie Malema, who stands there, who doesn't even know how to plant or to grow one single plant, who demands that he's a CIC of what? He's a child. And then he stands there and he says, let's nationalize. Now, I am not cross with Julius. I'm disappointed because I know him and he's not an idiot. He's not stupid, Tebogo. So I'm worried. Nationalization, communism, and socialism, it's over. We are a capitalist society. Communism died, Tebogo. We must go into an open market. We must take, and that's why I go back about national economic empowerment. There are 60 million South Africans. We must empower them. Land, Land must be distributed, that ownership of land to people is a must. But taking land without compensation will make this country a failure for anybody who wants to bring investment money, Tebogo. So when I sit in Switzerland, in France, and I say, bring your money to South Africa, do you think I say bring money for Neil, or do I say
No.
bring money for Tebogo and Neil? It's for us.
True.
But this ANC government decided that instead of the money going to Tebogo, going to Neil, going to Vusi, going to Ikanya, they're stealing it. There's hope, though. Sorry, there's hope. I'll tell you what is the hope.
Yeah.
The hope is that the people will realize that the ANC does not provide SASSA to the people. The taxpayers of the South Africa pay SASSA, not the ANC.
Yes. That's
the
true.
grant, the 350, about 350, is not paid by the ANC. It is paid by you and me, the taxpayer.
Yes. True.
And someone said, but Neil, is it true you will cut SASSA when you come govern? No, I will increase SASSA. And can I tell you how? Your SASSA grant will be broken up into 3 parts, Tebogo. How do you give someone 350 and you ask him to go buy food in ShopRite? They can't afford it, sir. So here's what I will do. You will get a third SASSA in cash grant. You will get a third in food coupon. And you will get a third in what we call a life coupon. Do you like that? And it will go on one card. So there will be money on your card, and that money will go for you as a woman to buy your pads, to buy your medical personal stuff, soap, to buy a little bit of ni. You will then have, and if you want 5 rand airtime, that comes out of your SASSA capital side. But then you will go to what they call National Food Distribution Centers, the NCDP. And you will be able to go there and you will be able to use your 500 rand food coupon at that NCDP distribution center. And you will get food. And then, if you want to go to a clinic, you want to go to a medical facility, you want to go to a chemist, you will be able then to use your last 500 third at any medical center of your choice as your life choice grant. So the grant is now going in 3 pieces: a capital grant, a food grant, and a health grant. That's it. That's a claim. That's a fact. Because first you've got to feed our people. Now, not all farms in this country, when I'm in government, will be there to make money. They will be there to make food. Not one thing I have told you today I have not done actually before I was in politics. I've done them all. So it's easy for me.
Yeah. So maybe lastly, your national health, what do you call
NHI?
What is your take on that?
Dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's as dead as a donkey. It's dead. You know, in Transkei, we've got a chicken there. It's called umlekwa.
Yeah.
You know the difference between umlekwa and a chicken is umlekwa is bigger and it's much more tasty. And you eat it with a gravy. It's called umhlob. So let me quickly tell you, when you cut the head of umlekwa, it's dead. It's like the NHI. Why
Yeah.
don't you as government first try to fix your current public hospitals and your current clinics before you go and start
Mm,
another thing, which is only
mm,
something for you, as a good friend
mm,
of mine now, Tebogo said. Tebogo said on
mm,
his radio program, ciao,
mm.
ciao. NHI is to ciao. Ka, ka. It's to ciao.
Yeah.
So
Yo.
no, no.
Mm,
UIM says no to NHI. First,
mm,
fix the current hospitals. First,
mm,
fix the broken window before you want to start spending money on a new
mm,
building. That's my
mm,
opinion.
mm. No, I think that's fair enough. Lastly, you you went on before the closing of these elections. I just want you to expatiate on this one as it is the last question, but it this regards to the your party now. But we can start it from the angle of saying that issue of signatures, and then now giving us the whole thing to say where did you qualify, and then so forth. Did you qualify nationally, provincially, and then all those things? And then what's the future hold for UIM?
Firstly, Tobacco, I could speak to you, it seems, day and night. I look forward to us not having a radio interview, but a bride, cheese and yama. I think me and you are going to have a lot of things to say. I love I love the way that you
Yeah,
do your interview and whom you ask.
yeah. No, I appreciate that.
But I know we
Appreciate.
have time constraints. Firstly, Tobacco,
Yeah. Mm,
when I was told 8 days before cutoff that we
mm,
needed 14,000
mm.
physical signatures. The
8 days.
only the only thing I could do was pray to God. And I said, God,
Mm,
I love you.
mm,
I said, but if
mm.
it's true in your Bible that you took fish and bread and you broke it and it became a million, today I need you breaking of the fish. And it happened to
Mm,
us. Therefore, we got our
mm.
14,000 signatures.
Sure.
I don't
Mm,
know how,
mm.
but we got it. So yeah, we qualified. You will
Yeah.
find the United Independent Movement, the UIM logo.
Mm.
This one.
Yes.
Is it this
Mm.
one? This one, yeah. You will
This
find
one
that
I can.
logo
Yeah. Mm.
on all national ballots. So
All
we did
national. Yeah.
all national. So we did not register for provincial
Mm.
ballot.
Oh,
You will
okay.
find us on the other two ballots, the
Mm.
national and the
Mm.
regional ballot.
Oh.
So the UIM will be contesting national and
Mm.
regional for this
Mm.
time.
Mm.
That's where we will be.
Mm. So you
And,
are a
and
president in waiting.
I always say I will be on the poster, but I can
Mm.
guarantee you that even if
Mm.
I can just print a
Mm.
hundred posters,
Mm.
20, 20 of those posters will be outside Cyril's house. And every morning when he drives out, and every evening when he comes home, he will see his face and he will
Mm.
know I'm
Mm.
coming to Parliament. And
Mm.
that will be
Mm.
satisfaction enough. No joking. I will be a presidential candidate, but
Mm.
here's the thing:
Mm.
a leader does not appoint himself. A
Yes.
leader
Yes.
is asked by
Mm.
the people to lead.
Mm.
So
Mm.
no
Mm.
matter what I am going to be elected to,
Mm.
one thing I can tell you and your listeners and viewers today is that I will be your servant. I will
Mm.
serve you. I will
Mm.
acknowledge when I have done wrong. I will
Mm.
take responsibility and I will be
Mm.
accountable to the
Mm.
people of the Republic of Mzansi every
Mm.
day of my life. And one more thing. We
Mm.
used to sing Indele Njela Sihambayo,
Yes.
which
Mm.
means Indele Njela Isihambayo. We used to sing that song. We used to
Yeah.
sing it because it meant it's a long walk to freedom.
mm, mm.
Tobacco, it's time
Yeah.
that everybody in this country gets to the end of the road
Mm,
and get the
mm,
freedom that we were
mm,
promised. That
mm,
all of us can say, halala,
mm,
halala,
mm.
umzansi halala.
Yeah. Mm. Mr. Neil, you you really brought some hope in me. You brought some hope in me because some of us, especially that we trying to fix this country. It is this type of platform like this one where we started this platform specifically to speak to speak about issues of this country, and also not speak but bring solution. So we are bringing solution through people like yourself and others that we invite, and then they see what is wrong in the country and they offer solution to the problems. And I think now it's up to the voters now to say we're going with UIM, we're going with so and so. But I think you spoke. I don't want to lie. You spoke, and there's no fake in what we say. Sometimes I don't want to say that other party because they'll say I'm favoring other parties. But sometimes when you listen to those other parties, you can realize that here we are being dribbled here. They're just dribbling us for the vote and they go. But above all, I just want to appreciate you, and also your assistant, Miss. Uh,
Julia, yeah.
yes, the one who I was communicating with. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
Virginia.
really want Miss Virginia. Yes, Virginia Long. Yes.
Yes.
So I really want to appreciate you, your team,
Thank you.
and I wish you well. I wish you well because one thing I like is that you have a background. You are not just coming from nowhere where you are just emotional and angry. You have been there. You've been at MK. You've trained. So I mean, it will be wrong of me to say, Mr. Neil is like all these other political parties. I will never say that because your background doesn't say that. Because anyway, you could have been in the ANC if the ANC was the ANC of Oliver Tambo, the ANC of Nelson Mandela. So it is not the same ANC. And I can also say the same because I did vote ANC before. But coming I just decided, like, no, I'm not voting. I stopped voting because I realized that this is not the same ANC that we used to vote for.
Amen.
But all in all, Mr. Neil, I just want to appreciate you.
Thank you.
And just your last word to the viewers, you can give them your last word before we close.
Yeah, Tobacco, I'm not a career politician.
Mm,
I have other dreams. I have other things I
yes.
still want to do.
Mm,
But there's one thing I must do, and that is to
yeah.
look my children in the eye and your children and tell
Yes.
them that we stood up again for freedom.
Mm,
We
mm,
didn't sit back. And my
mm,
message to every South African out there
mm,
tonight
mm,
is we have 66 days left as a country.
mm,
We have 66 days to realize
mm,
that the hope, the
mm,
dreams, and the future of this country
mm,
is in their hands.
mm,
And that we cannot, for 1 minute, think that we don't have a beautiful country. But there's one thing that is more beautiful than the country, and that is every single South African in this
mm,
country. So we
mm,
have to rise up, we
mm,
have to stand strong, we have to
mm,
go out on the 29th of May,
mm,
and we have to stand there, no matter your race, your color, or your history, and fight for
mm,
the future. So my call is
mm.
God bless this country,
Yes.
God bless
Mm,
this republic, and may
mm,
we all one day sit and laugh about the ups and
mm,
downs that we've had. And to you,
mm,
Tobego, thank you,
mm,
because you are
mm,
right. I only have
mm,
my heart and my word. There's
mm,
one good thing
mm.
about a person that doesn't lie. If you
Yes.
lie, you've got to remember your lie.
Mm.
And I fear
Mm.
only God. So I
Yeah.
will always tell you the truth, even if it hurts me. So thank you for those words. Have a great, great evening. It's still Sunday, so we can still have a bit of
Yeah.
cheese and yama. And
Yes.
please let us talk again. Let's talk before the
Yeah.
election and maybe after. And
Mm.
you're such a great man, and thank you for your audience. And I would love to see you again, but maybe next time in person.
Yeah, no, it will happen. It shall happen. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is not for the first and last. We will call you still, even before the elections, twice or three times. You go as we build towards the elections. You will be
I'll
called
be here,
again.
although I be
And
tired. I'll be here. Internet when
yeah,
I'm a darling. Thank you.
yeah.
And I hope you send us the link of the show as well. We'd love to.
No, immediately is going to Miss Long
Thank you.
after
And
we're
look after
done now.
yourself.
Thank you so much. I will.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the people of South Africa has spoken. This was another powerful episode from Forum for South Africa. This is the speaking platform. This is the place where we fix the country. Ladies and gentlemen, we are fixing this country. Thank you for watching. It was a pleasure to see all of you. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening. Bye bye.